Okay, well, it's a pleasure from Peace in Kurdistan to have with us uh, Carrie-Ann Westerham and Michael Gunter, both members of the executive board of the EUTCC, European Union Turkey Civic Commission, to talk to us about a little bit about the history of the EUTCC and where it's headed. So thank you guys for agreeing to participate in this interview.
Thank you, Jeff. It's an honor to be interviewed by you and to make this video. You are yourself a member of the EUTCC board, and Michael Günther is the General Secretary General. So it's very nice to be together with you, good colleagues and friends after all these years.
Yes, thank you.
Maybe I should start just because I was there from the beginning in 2004.
Let me ask you a question before that, just about your how you initially, before you got involved in the UTCC, how you got interested in the Kurdish question.
Yeah, my first encounter with the Kurdish movement or the Kurdish question was in 2002, actually, when I went to Turkey together with Peter Galbraith. He was a former ambassador to Croatia, and we went together. We were asked. I was asked by him to go to Turkey to have meetings with people who were close to the government, and it was about the peace to initiate talks or a beginning of a peace process. We visited over 40. Individuals and groups and NGOs. Sadly, this came to nothing because we didn't get funding to bring all these people together, or a selected group of these people together. But it was, in a way, my way into the Kurdish question and into to more knowledge about the Kurdish movement, because before that I wasn't very active and I didn't know that much about the Kurdish movement. So that was the first encounter, which was crucial for me as an individual, because I feel that I have learned so much during these years with the movement. And then
And can I ask Michael the same question before we get into the EUTCC history? Michael, how did you get interested? Yeah.
Quickly, three things. In 1978, I was a senior Fulbright lecturer to Turkey. I taught one academic year at Middle East Technical University in Ankara. And of course, this was my first introduction to Turkey, and it was a bad time in Turkey then because of the Iranian Revolution. There was no heat in the apartments, and I also remember there was violence going on in Turkey between leftists and rightists leading up to the 1980 military coup. I can remember vaguely I knew something about Kurds, but when I was in Turkey, I wanted to take some trips. And I was talking about traveling to the east of Turkey, and most Turks told me, no, you don't want to go there. It's a dirty, filthy place, and you want to go stay here in Ankara or go to Istanbul. So I remember that there was some type of warning, don't go to eastern Turkey. Now, the next thing I can remember is that when I came back from Turkey after 1 year living there, I had really fallen in love with the country, and I became more and more interested in Turkey and in maybe doing what I could to solve problems in Turkey. And I remember a Paul Henze, who was a former CIA chief in Turkey. He sent me a letter out of the blue, introduced himself, and told me that he wanted me to write an article proving that the PKK was a communist Soviet front. And I worked on that for 1 year, trying to please him and get into that. And I concluded that the PKK was not a Soviet front, but a Kurdish nationalist movement. And Hensley, whom I respected greatly, Hensley knew a lot about Turkey, but he was a CIA agent trying to work against Turkey's enemies at that time. And Hensley said he was so disappointed in me. He thought I was a smarter fellow and I would have come up with some better conclusions. And I was very hurt and disappointed. I thought I had a good article. I sent it to the #1 journal at that time in Middle Eastern Studies, Middle East Journal, and they accepted it. I knew nothing about Turkey. I knew nothing about the Kurds, but my article was good enough to be published in 1988 in the Middle East Journal, one of the first publications in the West at that time. Today, as you know, there are literally thousands. And that got me into the Kurdish situation. I could go on, but that gives you an idea.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, and so that gives us a little bit of a background into how you guys are both got interested in the question. And could you tell us a little bit about the history and the backdrop to the EUTCC, how the EUTCC emerges, and how you got involved in the EUTCC?
Let me first say that Carrie Ann is my boss. She is the chair of the EUTCC, and she's the one that should answer this question.
Excellent.
Well, in 2004, actually, the Adem Uzun from the Kurdistan National Congress (KNK), he invited some people to Brussels to talk about the possibility of forming a platform for the Kurds to meet with European politicians and other actors. So there were the Medical International, the Rafto Foundation in Norway. I represented the Rafto Foundation, the Bar Human Rights Committee of England and Wales, and Kurdish Kerem Yildiz. What was the name of the organization?
The Human Rights Project.
Yes. We met in Brussels, and then we decided to try to set up an international conference. Like I said, it should be a platform where the Kurd could present their cases, their problems, their questions to politicians, European politicians. And actually, we managed to get the European Parliament involved. So from that moment it was in November 2004, we had the Parliament as the host or the co-host for the conference. And this was a time when there were a lot of positivism. People were very positive. People were very motivated. Erdogan was newly elected just 1 year ago, so there were hopes of that the Kurds and the minorities and the opposition will have better conditions in Turkey. So in that climate, the conference was set up, and I remember the first conference in 2004, there were a lot of South African representatives. And you, Michael Götte, you were one of the first speakers and recommended by Kerem Yildiz. So that was the first time I met you, actually. And the board was formed, actually. Do you want to be the chair? Can you be the secretary general? Can you be this and can you be that? So it was a rather informal body. But and some of these organizations are no longer involved. But the people that are still there, we are long-term friends. We have become very close, good colleagues and friends, and also very happy that you Jeff, has joined the board together with us. So I think we have developed to be a very strong team.
Mm.
of volunteers, because none of us have will earn something of it, and there are no formalities. We all work because we are engaged, and we are very motivated yeah, to do something for the cause. Do you want to
Yeah.
add something, Michael?
I've always been very impressed with our relationship with the EU Parliament. And in the EU Parliament, Stefano has been our
Guasina.
connection, our guide, and the very fact that we hold our annual meeting in the EU Parliament gives us a prestige, a platform that would otherwise not be able to reach the outside world. And I think that has been one of our main backgrounds. Another main background is I think we have a lot of strong people on the board, but we don't have an ego problem. We're there to work for the good of the Kurdish cause, and whoever can help at that particular time, we all support that person. And we've gotten along very well over the years, I think. And I've been impressed with that. We have some different opinions, but we solve our opinions in a collegial way. And the proof of our success is we've been going now for what, about 15 years or more. And we just go on. And I think we have publicized the Kurdish cause in a way that is not only good and fair to the Kurds, but fair to Turkey too, the better angels of Turkey's conscience. We are not anti-Turkish, we are pro-Turkish, but the Turkey that is for all the Turkish people and not just for certain groups that want to lord it over other groups.
Mm.
I just want to add that I think what made our team or the EUTCC different from other actors that was promoting Kurdish rights and political rights and is that we from the very beginning we decided to work very close to the Kurdish movement. So I think, for example, we very early decided that we also wanted to include the PKK. And even if at the beginning we couldn't even say the name Öcalan or PKK because many of the EU EP parliamentarians are very, no, don't say that. We can't say that in the European Parliament. And also some of the groups, the founding groups, were very reluctant to include that. But during the years, we have seen that no, for example, the name Öcalan or the PKK are on everyone's list. It's a very hot issue today. So I think it was a very good move that we so early wanted to include all in our discussion and in our work. But of course, we couldn't have come this far without the support of the European Parliament and the political groups. It's very, I think we should mention them because, for example, the European left, United Left and the Nordic Green Left group, they were there from the very beginning and they really supported us. And we mentioned Stefano Guasina. He was working as an administrative. He was a representative of the administrative staff in that group. And later, we have the Progressive Alliance of Socialists and Democrats and the group of the Greens, European Free Alliance. And these groups have done, and really, they have supported us with so many things. For example, the translation, interpretations, the lunches, some of the very expensive tickets, and also other forms of support. So we couldn't have done this without their help and really solidaric support. And also the team in Brussels with the K&K have been extremely supportive. Nilufer Kok, Adam Usun, and many others. So I think it was a very, very good move that we started out by saying everyone is welcome to this conference, even if there are some people actually withdraw and said, no, we can't be there if the PKI is there. But at the end of the day, we can see that this was very, very good move.
Mm, mm. Well, yeah, thank you. That's very clarificatory. Could you tell us a little bit about the main challenges and that the EUTCC has faced over the years, and what are the goals and the challenges going forward?
I would say that the work of the EUTCC and the conferences mainly is a very good, has had a very good development. And from the very beginning today, we have so many people saying that, okay, when we first, when we joined these conferences, we have learned a lot. So I think the EUTCC represents a kind of a consciousness raising, not only among the Kurds, because I think it has always also been that, but also by other people who have been interested in the Kurdish question, but not really got into it, not really understood what was the main core or the problems inside. So I think we have contributed a lot. Of course, the problem is that we have also worked voluntarily, and we have been funded by many individuals who said, okay, let's do a donation to you, but not in a formal way. So we had the problem of actually not the finances. So if it wasn't for the EP, it would have been very difficult to do that. The challenges, I would say, is that it has been very, the situation in Turkey was bad. In 2004, there were hopes. Today, it's worse than ever. So it has been increasingly difficult. Some of us are not allowed anymore to go to Turkey. So it has been very difficult to, in a way, to maintain the activity on that level that we want to. If you want to add, Michael, just go ahead.
Yes, I would add, to me, the most impressive thing we've done over the years is the annual conference at the EU Parliament. We bring in speakers from many different places around the world. We talk about a variety of issues that concern the Kurdish issue, and we make enormous publicity for the Kurdish cause. There are a number of news media who are there at the conference, which we usually have in early December, and the news media interviews our speakers, and these interviews are then broadcast all over the world, and it has brought a tremendous amount of positive publicity and knowledge about the Kurdish cause at a very reasonable cost to us, I think. And again, I'm very grateful for the efforts of the EU Parliament friends that we have. I might add that we also, from time to time, over the years, we've issued statements in the name of the EU Turkey Civic Commission about various problems dealing with Turkey and the Kurdish issue. Recently, we've renewed our board Carrie Ann, you were there at the beginning. I joined you shortly afterwards. Recently, though, we've had some excellent additions to the board, including our moderator today, Jeff Dursum, who is listening in on us, has done a tremendous amount of work. And I credit Carrie Ann for having recruited these people who have given us new vigor and insight. I want to mention Estella Schmidt in Britain, Austrian origin, who's probably more Kurdish than the Kurds. She's incredible. I don't agree with her all the time, but I certainly admire her energy. And talking about parliaments, through the efforts of Estella, I myself have several times been invited to speak at conferences or meetings at in the British Parliament, where I first met Jeff several years ago now, and that has certainly helped the issue. And again, we've had a number of people. I can't name all the different names. Some of them are no longer even living, who have been a part of our movement and have given invaluable service to us over the years. And I look forward to the pandemic being over and we can continue with what we have been doing with these annual conferences.
And also I'd like to mention all the people that we have been introduced for during the years, the Kurds, that today represent a major force in our work. Like, for example, Adam Usun, Nilüfer, Faik Yassinder in Strasbourg, and Stefano, who is still working with us. And all these people have set us in contact with the Kurdish spokesperson, Kurdish leaders, if you might say that. So in all parts of Kurdistan, who are working with us and in their fields and in their areas. So I think we are the board, but we are a lot of people. We are a movement in ourselves, an EUTCC movement in a way that includes so many people in many countries who actively just as speakers, but also in many other ways. There are always people we can consult, that we can contact and say, how is the situation in Rojava at the moment? How is it in Afrin? How is it there? How is it in Bashu? And they would always respond and add something to our work. So all in all, I would say that the work with the EUTCC and all this extended network that we have built up during the years have taught me so many things. I have learned so many things from these people, and they have become friends. And yeah, there are so many fantastic people out there. So we are actually so lucky to be involved in this work.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for that. Let me ask just a more contemporary question first about the challenges for the organization going forward, but associated with something that you were mentioned with respect to the situation in Turkey in particular, the situation that the Kurdish movement faces, what you guys see to be the main challenges first for the EUTCC, but in relationship to its advocacy for the rights of the Kurdish people in the present and moving forward.
Yeah, maybe perhaps.
Well, let me say something while you think about it, Carrie Ann, because your ideas will be better than mine. But I certainly myself look forward to the coming challenges. Sometimes it's discouraging. We seem to have made a lot of progress, as we did with the Kurdish opening in 2013 to 2015, and then the negative results that occurred after the Kurdish election Turkish elections on June 7th, 2015, and the fighting began again. And it's not always Turkey's fault. I think the Kurds have made mistakes too along the way, but nobody is perfect. And when you are being denied your basic human rights, of course, you're not always going to be able to respond in the most intelligent and positive ways. But the Kurdish people have every right in the world to appeal to the conscience of Turkey and to the world about their cause. And I am still full of energy with promoting this cause. And I'm very grateful that we have people like Carrie Ann and Jeff and Dursum and others. I want to mention Stella again, and all the many Kurds in Brussels that I've met over the years who've helped our movement. I don't think they're ever going to give up. A fall in the pit, a gain in your wit. We move forward, and the challenges are there, but we will meet them. And I am convinced that in time, this problem is largely going to be solved for the good of not only of the Kurdish people, but for Turkey too.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there was just want to mention a report that I received yesterday from Estella, and also Jeff have read it, from the Salux Foundation. Yeah. And they are, it was a really good report which go through the problems that Turkey has caused since 2013. And I think it sums up the main challenges ahead in Turkey. And you're right, we will never give up as a team that works for the rights of the Kurds and for democracy in Turkey. But of course, the main challenge is to raise the awareness of the international community, international organizations like the EU, like NATO, and other institutions, because it's damaging. It's so damaging that no one responds to all this terrible, horrible behavior of Turkey. So this report, and I really recommend you to read it. I haven't read it, all of it myself, but I think it's very good, and it comes at the right time. But the NATO also have to go through its own policy towards Turkey, because there are possibilities for doing something also through NATO and the Article 5. I think it's a really, for Turkey, it's not only a threat to the Kurds or the minorities and the free speech or democracy. It's a security problem for Europe, which we have seen in the last year, especially. So I think the main challenge is to raise the awareness of the international community. But also, I think it's important that the Kurds come together as one, because now what is now going on in Bashu and the fighting between KDP and PKK, people ask, why can't they agree with each other? Why can't they unite in a way? I think it's very sad to see this kind of fighting, Kurdish fighting. But again, it's not the will of the KDP, it's Turkey that is behind all this, and this bad and horrible development. So yes, Turkey have perhaps did some good things in the past, but at the moment it is really horrible, and the international community have to act.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned the Salix report. I think it's a very important report. I wanted to ask you, Michael, what your opinion is of one of the main recommendations of the report is that they point out that it's up to the discretion of the remaining NATO countries whether or not to militarily support a particular NATO country if they are attacked. And they suggest that one kind of leverage that can be used against the Turkish state is for NATO countries to say that they would not support Turkey if it were attacked, unless they change course with respect to the human rights situation generally, but in particular with respect to the treatment of the Kurds.
I don't think I'd go that far. For one thing, it depends on who's attacking Turkey. If supposedly the PKK attacks across the Syrian frontier, I don't know if that is a legitimate concern of NATO. If the original reason for NATO, a Russian attack, is there, of course, Turkey's a member of NATO. So I think we have to be more nuanced in what we're doing here. I would like to mention something else, though, that over the years in conferences I've gone to with official government agencies in the United States, I have often said that one positive step the U.S. should take is to delist the PKK as a terrorist movement. You cannot move forward on the Kurdish issue as much as we want to if you consider the PKK a terrorist movement. It is not a terrorist movement. It is basically a Kurdish nationalist movement. And I think the US government knows that, but because of the importance of Turkey to the NATO alliance, the United States is going to always be taking Turkey's side on this. And therefore, I am particularly interested in what the new president, Joseph Biden, is going to do. I think he will make some subtle changes that will be positive for the Kurds. I don't see how he can make major changes, though, unless Turkey itself commits suicide. You started the question asking me about what if Turkey is attacked. Frankly, I see Turkey attacking the Turkish aggression in the Eastern Mediterranean, Turkish troops Turkey supporting a military action in Libya, northern Syria, northern Iraq. It's Turkey that is the one that is causing some of these problems right now, not so much Turkey itself being attacked by anybody.
Yeah. Very good. Very interesting. So thank you guys for this. Lots of interesting information. Any last words you guys have for the audience?
I would like to say that another main challenge is to get the parties to the table. But that won't happen before the PKK is off the list. But also, again, the EUTCC also sent delegations, the Imrali delegations, to different parts of Kurdistan, Turkey, and to international European bodies like the CPT and the European Council. I think when we talk about the international community, I think the EU and other important organizations should try to press Turkey to the table and also give Abdullah Öcalan the possibility to participate. So a visit to Öcalan would be very important. And I hope that there will be more attention to Öcalan's situation, openly, publicly attention to his situation, and urge him to be released.
Yeah, very good. Michael?
The refugee problem. There are almost 4 million refugees in Turkey right now, which is challenging the Turkish government and also challenges Europe. I think maybe we could find some common ground where Turkey, the Kurds, and Europe can all three get together and help solve this refugee problem. I've been to refugee camps in northern Iraq, and we don't know how fortunate we are in Europe and the United States to be not refugees. This is a horrible situation, and it's caused in large part by the Kurdish problem. And it's something that I think we could all agree on. Turkey, the Kurds, the United States, the EU, that we have to do something about the refugee problem. And that could help solve the Kurdish problem itself.
Great. Well, thank you guys very much for a very interesting conversation. And we will, of course, stay in touch. So thank you.
And thank you, Jeff, for doing this.
Thank you, Jeff. It was it was an honor to be here and to have this conversation with you. It was really nice. Interesting.
Thank you. Thank you.